Breaking news overnight, police charged a man for killing his own mother. Officers found her inside her Buckhead townhome. Channel 2's Darren Moore is live for us in northwest Atlanta outside the jail, where Darren, this morning, the victim's son is behind bars.
A Buckhead townhouse, a quiet street, a family with an NFL star's name attached to it. And inside those walls, a mother is dead, her throat cut, while her own son sits barricaded behind the front door, refusing to come out. This is the Nateal Campbell case, and what makes this one so hard to sit with isn't just the violence, it's the family it happened to. Because if you're a football fan, you already know the last name Campbell. Calais Campbell, 6-time Pro Bowler, nearly 2 decades in the league. A man voted the NFL's Man of the Year for his charity work. And now his mother is gone, and his own brother is the one accused of killing her. Before we get into this one, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button and tap the bell icon so you don't miss how this story unfolds. Because trust me, there's more coming. And if you've been here before, you know what to do. Shadow crime lives because you show up for these families and these victims. So don't scroll past this one without hitting subscribe. It genuinely helps this channel keep telling these stories the right way. Now let's talk about who Nateal Campbell actually was. She was 71 years old. She was a matriarch of a massive family, 8 children total. And she raised them alongside her husband Chuck, who passed away before her. Together they didn't just raise a football star. They built something bigger, a family foundation named after Chuck himself, the Charles Richard Campbell Foundation, something Calais and his siblings created in their father's honor. This was a woman who watched her son go from college ball at Miami to a second-round draft pick, who stood beside him at the draft, who was there through every stadium, every contract, every milestone. She wasn't a stranger to the spotlight, but she also wasn't someone who sought it out. She was a mother first, and that's what makes Tuesday so devastating. Around 12:30 in the afternoon, police got a call for a welfare check at her townhouse on Roswell Road in Buckhead, one of Atlanta's more upscale neighborhoods. A concerned family member had reached out because nobody could get in touch with Natiel. When officers pulled up, they didn't just find a quiet house. They found a man barricaded inside, refusing to come out. Police had to force their way in, and when they did, they found Nateal Campbell dead with multiple cuts to her neck. The man who barricaded himself inside wasn't a stranger, wasn't an intruder. It was her own son.
Breaking news overnight, police charged a man for killing his own mother. Officers found her inside her Buckhead townhome. Channel 2's Darren Moore is live for us in northwest Atlanta outside the jail, where Darren, this morning, the victim's son is behind bars facing murder charges.
Yeah, and it was a welfare check that led police to the home. And as you said, the victim's son is here at the Fulton County Jail charged with murder. But this all happened Tuesday afternoon when Atlanta police showed up at a Buckhead townhome on Roswell Road on a welfare check. Officers found a 71-year-old woman dead inside. Investigators charged her son, Ciarre Campbell, in connection to her death. Now, police didn't say how she died, but collected enough evidence to charge the victim's son with murder.
We're trying to determine the exact details of what transpired in the time frame. So the neighbors have been helpful. We've been able to locate some valuable information.
And family members told police Campbell has a history of mental illness. He's also the brother of former Atlanta Falcons defensive end Calais Campbell. Now, police said they did show up at the victim's townhome back in April, but I'll have that part of the story coming up in the next half hour. In northwest Atlanta, Darren Moore, Channel 2 Action News this morning.
Oh, Darren, thank you. And ESPN received this statement from the Campbell family that reads in part, quote, "We are devastated to share that the Campbell family has lost its matriarch, Mrs. Nateal Campbell. We ask for privacy at this time so that we may honor her and share in our overwhelming grief privately and as a family."
That son has been identified as Ciarre Campbell, 41 years old, Calais' older brother. He was taken into custody right there at the scene and later booked into the Fulton County Jail. The charges against him are serious: murder, aggravated assault, and possession of a knife. He waived his first court appearance, which means we didn't get to hear him speak on any of this yet, and he's being held without bond while this case moves forward. His attorney, a man named JABT, came out and told reporters his client is innocent until proven guilty, and asked the public and the media to respect the family's privacy during all of this. Now I get it. That's what defense attorneys are supposed to say. But let's sit with that phrase for a second. Innocent until proven guilty, because the story around this case is only getting heavier the more we learn. See, this wasn't the first time police had been to that home. Not even close. Investigators say officers had responded to that same address 9 separate times since September. 9 times in about 10 months. We're talking about calls for a fight in progress, a suspicious person, an earlier welfare check, and even a possible arson incident back in April. Think about that for a second. This wasn't a home that was silent and then suddenly erupted into violence out of nowhere. This was a home that had been sending signals for months. And somehow, nobody outside that family fully stepped in before it reached this point. And this is where it gets even harder to process. Atlanta Police Lieutenant Christopher Butler spoke to reporters and said there had been, in his words, indications of possibly some mental health issues involving an individual at that home. He didn't affirm outright that this was about Ciarre specifically, but given everything else we know, it's hard not to connect those dots. If there really were ongoing mental health struggles happening inside that house, and police were already aware of it through 9 prior visits, that raises a question a lot of you are probably already asking in the comments before I even finish this sentence. Were there missed opportunities here? Was there a moment, or maybe several moments, where more could have been done before it turned fatal? Because here's the thing about domestic violence cases like this one, they rarely come out of nowhere. There's almost always a pattern building underneath the surface. Arguments, incidents, warning signs that people around the situation pick up on, but don't always know how to fully address. And in families dealing with mental illness, that pattern can be even harder to interrupt, especially when the person struggling is someone you love, someone you're trying to protect even from themselves. Lieutenant Butler summed up how police were viewing this early on. He called it a domestic incident between a mother and, so far, what they believe is her son. A domestic incident. That phrase feels almost too small for what actually happened inside that townhouse. Tell me down in the comments, do you think enough was done after those 9 prior calls? Or does this feel like a warning sign nobody acted on in time?
We are learning more from newly released 911 calls. They detail the hours before the mother of a former Falcons player was found dead inside her townhome in Buckhead. Channel 2's Michael Seiden live now in Buckhead for us. So, Michael, you actually covered the former player at the beginning of the NFL season.
Yeah, George, I covered Calais Campbell during his rookie season. He played for the Arizona Cardinals, and while he's known for so many accomplishments on the field, he's also widely respected for his commitment to his family and his community. But tonight, I got to tell you, his family is dealing with an unthinkable tragedy after what unfolded here at this townhome community. This is how many people will remember Nateal Campbell smiling beside her son, NFL veteran Calais Campbell. But Tuesday afternoon, police say the 71-year-old's life ended in a brutal attack, reportedly at the hands of her other son, 41-year-old Ciarre Campbell. Officers responded to the Buckhead townhome for a welfare check after family members became concerned they couldn't reach Nateal Campbell.
My brother's he's mentally ill. He's been diagnosed with schizophrenia and some other things. He stays with my mother, and this morning, we're trying to get a house. We can't get in our house.
When officers arrived, they say Ciarre Campbell had barricaded himself inside the home. After taking him into custody, they found his mother dead. According to the arrest affidavit, Campbell's accused of stabbing his mother so violently that she was nearly decapitated.
This morning, he drove in her car, which is very unusual. He doesn't drive at all. But the neighbor caught her on camera. They drove off in her car, and we can't get in her house.
Court records show Campbell waived his first court appearance Wednesday. Police say they'd responded to the home 10 times since 2025, including an April fire where a family member reported Campbell set the blaze to, quote, rid the house of demons. The report also states his mother had been staying elsewhere after he took over the home. And tonight, the Campbell family has released a statement asking for privacy, but they did say they are dealing with overwhelming grief. They also said they're comforted by the belief that their family's been reunited with their father. Now, defense attorney Jay Apt told Channel 2 his client is innocent until proven guilty. We're live in Buckhead. I'm Michael Seiden, Channel 2 Action News.
Now, here's where this story takes a turn that a lot of you probably didn't see coming. There's a 911 call that's been released, and it adds a layer to this that honestly makes the whole thing even more unsettling. On that call, an unidentified family member is heard requesting the welfare check because he and other relatives had been trying to reach Natiel and couldn't get through to her. He told the dispatcher that another brother was inside the home with her, someone he described as mentally ill, someone who had been living with their mother. And according to that caller, this brother claimed Natiel had already left the house. But here's the twist. Footage from a neighbor's security camera appeared to show that she never did. She never left. Sit with that for a second. If that timeline holds up, it means someone inside that home may have been telling family members a story that the evidence doesn't support, while their mother was already gone. That's the kind of detail that can shift an entire case, because it speaks to intent, to awareness, to what somebody may have known and tried to hide in those hours before police ever arrived. We still don't have an official cause of death confirmed by the medical examiner. We don't have an indictment yet. We don't know what Ciarre Campbell's defense strategy is going to look like, especially if his legal team leans into any mental health history as part of this case moving forward. What we do have is a family, a well-known and well-respected NFL family, dealing with an unimaginable loss on two fronts at once, grieving a mother and watching a brother face the possibility of spending the rest of his life behind bars for her death. The Campbell family did release a statement, and I think it's worth reading in full because you can feel the weight in it. They said, "We are devastated to share that the Campbell family has lost its matriarch, Mrs. Nateal Campbell. While the details of her passing are still being investigated, we take comfort in knowing she is reunited with our father, her beloved Chuck, and in the arms of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ." They asked for privacy so they could grieve as a family. The Ravens organization also released their own statement offering condolences to Calais and asking the public to respect their privacy during this time. So here's what I keep coming back to with this one. When the people closest to someone start noticing changes, mental health struggles, erratic behavior, incidents that bring police to the same address again and again, where's the line between giving someone privacy and grace and recognizing that a situation has become dangerous? How many families right now are living inside a version of the same pattern, hoping it never reaches a night like this one? If this story affected you the way it affected me putting it together, make sure you're subscribed to Shadow Crime and that bell icon is turned on, because we're going to stay on top of every update in this case as it develops. Drop your thoughts down in the comments. I read every single one.